Until a few years ago, I feel like contouring wasn't even really a thing. We just kind of got on with our uncontoured faces and used a little bit of bronzer, and everyone was none the wiser. But contouring is massive now, and I think pretty much everybody knows what it is, and it's really become a kind of in thing in the beauty industry. Every company's launching out contour products, and I think, you know, it's a lot to do with people like Kim Kardashian and that kind of thing that have kind of shown their contouring routine and kind of how it can really transform a face. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about the whole kind of, you know, white triangle under the eye, proper kind of in-depth contouring system, because I think that's the type of contouring that looks beautiful in pictures. It looks really stunning in pictures, but in real life can look very over the top and overly made up, and that's not something that I like in real life. But I do definitely always like to have a contour, and to be honest, not to kind of sound like, you know, I was in before the trend, but I have always contoured because I've got quite a round face. Some people might disagree. There's a big debate going on about it on one of my videos, and people go nuts over it, but I have got a round face, and I just like to kind of, I like how cheekbones look. I like a face that's got cheekbones in it, so I feel like my face needs a little bit of help achieving that, especially at the moment because it is so round. So I really rely on contouring. I contour pretty much every day if I'm wearing makeup, but I think doing it in a subtle way and using subtle products is the way to go. You don't need to kind of be really over the top with it, and especially not in a daily basis. And I also want to just address kind of, a lot of people have got a real issue with contouring, saying that you're kind of altering the shape of your face and that it's, you know, just shows that you're unconfident and you don't like your face and all that kind of thing. That's not the case. For me at least, and that's not how I see it. You know, I don't dislike my face, and I just feel like it's just a little bit of an enhancer, and let's be honest, it doesn't make that much of a difference. It doesn't make you suddenly look like, you know, you're Cheryl Cole when you've contoured. I mean, it would be great if it did, but it doesn't. It's just a little bit of help, and I don't think kind of people need to get their knickers in a twist over it. But I'm going to talk to you about my favourite kind of products, and I'll start out with the kind of more expensive options and then kind of talk to you about cheaper ones, because I have got some really good cheaper ones here. For a cream contour, this is a really great product, and one that I wasn't expecting to like, if I'm honest, when I first tried it out. And this is the Clinique Chubby Stick Sculpting Contour in Curvy Contour. It looks like this. It looks really scary. When this came in the post, I looked at it and I thought, the tone of this is off, because I think with contours they tend to work better if they're kind of the colour of shadow, so they have a slightly cooler tone. I don't necessarily think the grey ones work that well on everyone's skin tone, but a slightly cooler tone bronze tends to work well, and I thought this just looked really orange. If I swatch it on the back of my hand there, it looked too warm, it looked too orange, and I didn't think it was going to work. But I've got loads of use out of this, and I actually really like this. I just kind of suck in my cheeks, and then where the hollow is, just pop this in, blend it out with a Real Techniques contour brush, and it works great. I'm wearing this today, in fact, and I do really like this. I think this is a really good option if you want a cream product and you're slightly more experienced. I use this kind of after my foundation, before powder, and it works really nicely. I always put a little bit on my forehead to just slim that down. You can do a little bit down the nose. It looks beautiful in pictures and just works really nicely. Then for a slightly kind of higher end option, if you're looking for something like that, this is just not a specific contour powder. I know everyone goes nuts over the Kevin O'Quan and that kind of thing, but I just haven't really felt the need to try those. But Benefit Hoola, good old Hoola by Benefit. This works as a great contour colour. In fact, I'm wearing it as an eyeshadow today, just in my crease, but this is nice. Even though it's a little bit warm, it just works nicely because it's matte. You always want a matte contour. There's nothing more fake looking than a shimmery contour. I really don't recommend having a shimmery contour, but this works really nicely as well. If you've just got a bronzer and you want to just experiment and you've already got this, this will work great. Then in terms of just a small kind of really inexpensive powder you could use, and you could do this pretty much anything. If you find bronzers to be too orangey, could you hear that? That was my boyfriend sneezing downstairs. Oh my god. Hopefully it stopped. If you find bronzers tend to be too orangey on you and you're really fair skinned and you want something that's a little bit cooler toned, getting a powder from kind of whatever powder range you like that's a little bit darker than your natural skin tone works really well. That's what I sometimes do, and this MUA one is a great example. This is shade number 3, and this is just a really nice contour shade. I can wear the slightly warmer tones because my skin tone is slightly warmer, but if you've got a cooler tone, then just look for something that's kind of a little bit more ashy almost, and that should work well. But powders are always matte, so that works great. And then for little contouring kits and palettes and all that kind of thing, these are all the ones I've got here. They're all drugstore, which is cool. The first one that launched years and years ago, and I remember I bought this when it first came out, was the Sleek Contour Kit. I've got it in medium, and I will be honest, this is too dark. I needed the light because Sleek products are so well pigmented, sometimes it's a bit of a problem. I wouldn't use this as a contour, I think it's a little bit too dark. The highlighter is quite nice, but I use this as a bronzer and it's okay. But if you are darker skinned and you want a nice contour colour that's nice and dark, Sleek are really good. Then the one that I've been using a lot recently is by Barry M, and it's their Chiseled Cheeks Contour Kit. So they have a bronze, a contour and a highlight, and they kind of have instructions up here on how to do it. So that's great if you're just getting into it and you want to experiment a little bit. These are really nice. They're a little bit powdery, a little bit chalky, but for like £5 they're not too bad. And then these two I picked up recently. This is the MUA Luxe Bronze and Sculpt Contour Kit. Now I've got it in the shade light medium. My issue with this is the bronze and sculpt bit. I'm confused as to why they think that it's really a great contour product, because the highlighter is gorgeous, not very subtle at all. It's kind of a peachy shimmery colour but very pretty. And then this one, I think it's supposed to be the bronzer and the contour. I wouldn't contour with that. I think it's just a little bit too kind of bronzy and a little bit too orangey for my liking. Works lovely as a bronzer. I'm wearing it as a bronzer today in fact, but for a contour I wouldn't recommend this, but it's kind of nice if you like that kind of very warm look, and the highlighter is very pretty as well. If I swatch that for you, it's just a nice kind of shimmery highlighter. And then the last one I picked up was the Maybelline Master Sculpt, and I've got it in light medium again because the other one looked like it was a little bit dark for me. I don't like a really kind of obvious contour as well, and this is in, like I said, light medium, and it looks like this. The packaging of it is quite interesting. So you just get the contour, the highlight, and then I think a little mirror at the back, and then a little brush that they suggest you contour with, like that, which I could see how it could work, but I don't use that. I just use an angled brush. But I really like this. The contour shade's really nice. It's kind of nice and neutral enough. I've got this on over the Clinique one today, which I do sometimes, and I think it looks really, really pretty. I've got the highlight on as well. I'm not sure how well that shows up. It's a very subtle highlight, which is nice for during the day, but this is definitely a really nice product if you want to just experiment again, and it was only like $6.99 I think. So yeah, those are my recommendations for contour products. They're the ones that I like and that I use. I threw the MUA one in there, not because I love it, but just because I wanted to show you guys it as well. But I would love to know your contour recommendations. How do you feel about contouring? Do you think it's over the top? Do you do the whole proper like contour triangle business every day? What do you think about that? Would you like me to do kind of like a contouring video, like a how I do it kind of thing, even though I've shown it in videos loads of times? But I would love to know your thoughts, and I will see you all in my next video.